As I think back over the last 2 weeks of this new training block, there's been a string of events that could have shipwrecked my training if I would let them. And so the theme of today's video is don't panic. We all have surprises. I know I'm not alone. If that sounds familiar, stay tuned, we'll talk about it right after this. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Keep Running with BK, and I'm going to share just some thoughts from my own training that I hope will encourage you in your own running to keep learning, to keep improving, or just to keep running. And as I've been sharing in the past couple weeks, I recently transitioned as we enter into fall from a 100% easy running through the summer dealing with the heat and humidity to introducing speed work back into my workouts so that I can make an attempt at a half marathon this fall, later on in the end of October, early November, with an attempt to run at a 7:30 pace. So we'll see how that goes. But as I mentioned in the intro, there's been a whole string of events that have popped up over the past 2 weeks where I could be tempted as a runner to panic and get thrown off my game and really get thrown off me staying focused on what I'm attempting to do in my training. And I want to share some of those thoughts with you today. So first off, my very first speed workout 2 weeks ago, I was headed to the track early in the morning. It was still dark out, and the night before I was looking for my stopwatch, because typically when I do speed work at the track, I like to use a stopwatch that has a repeat countdown timer where I can set where I expect to be, say at 200 meters or halfway around the track, just so I can make micro adjustments during my runs so I can stay on pace for the target pace that I'm shooting for. Well, the night before I found my watch and the battery was dead. Panic time, or at least an opportunity to panic. But what did I do? I searched the house high and low looking for alternative. Do I have an old-fashioned stopwatch? Do I have another wristwatch, or do the kids have a wristwatch that I can borrow that has either a timer on it or something else like that that I could use? And as luck would have it, no, I didn't have one of those things. It would have been very easy for me then to get wrapped around the axle, panic, and totally get discouraged and totally panic going into my run. But instead, I showed up at the track early in the morning as planned. It was still dark out, and I was going to trust my training. I was going to trust my experience. I'm just going to go out there and give it my best shot. It'll be a baseline. I can see what I can learn from that, and I can adjust from there. No need to throw the whole plan out. No need to throw the goals out. No need to get panicked. So how did that go? And as I shared in my video last week, it didn't go great. My experience told me that I tend to go out too hard in those early ones, and so I intentionally said, all right, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to run hard, but I'm going to be a little conservative. I'm going to hold back a little bit so that I don't go out too hard and then shoot myself in the foot, blow the whole workout, and go from there. So I did that, and I was able to finish all of my repeats, feeling good about it. Got home, again, because I didn't have a watch to really keep track of that for me. It was too dark out to really gauge anything off my GPS watch that I was wearing. I just had to look at the results, get a sense of how it went, and then go into this past week's workout where I was repeating the same exact workout and make adjustments, which is what I did. And so last week I was about 8 seconds per 200 too slow, 15 seconds per quarter mile, or one lap around the track essentially. All right, so I was a little too conservative throughout that. So this week the plan was, again, I don't have a watch, I don't have any of that stuff, still running in the dark. I knew that I needed to go out a little bit more aggressive, and I did that, and I nailed it. All my 200s, all my 400s were pretty much right where I needed them to be, which really helped to boost my confidence and feel good about how the training was going. And I didn't have to panic. I could just take a baseline, make minor adjustments, give it another go, And that's really what we do as runners. We learn from our experiences. We make minor adjustments. No need to panic. No need to get bent out of shape. No need to get worried that our whole training plan is shot and is no good. But that wasn't all. I showed up at the track this week to do that. And again, I did nail the workout, which felt great. But it was raining. I woke up, looked outside. It was dark. It was raining. It was windy. And I was like, oh boy, I'd already worked through, I'm not going to panic. I'm just going to go into it, approach it a little bit differently from last week's workout. But how is the rain going to affect it? How is the wind going to affect it? Again, I could have panicked. I could have let that shipwreck me. But I said, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to run the 3 300s. Then I'm going to do the 6 400s. I'll gauge how it's going. And if I have to cut it short for whatever reason, quality reasons or what have you, I can cut it short there. The good news was the rain really didn't bother me a whole lot. The wind picked up a couple times and I just had to dig down and push through it. But I held up, and when I got through the 400s, I was like, let's go for the 300s. Let's get those in. I got those in. It was still raining. I'm still doing fine. I was able to do a cool down, complete my workout. And as I said, I nailed the workout. I didn't let that potential distraction throw me off mentally from the game plan going in. It didn't prevent me from taking the lessons learned from the previous workout, going in with a game plan of this is how I'm going to tackle the workout, and actually doing it. And that's where we just have to apply mental toughness, make the best of the situation and give it our best shot. And had it not gone well, all right, I would have some information as to explain why, but did I give it my best? Did I get the quality out of it that I could? Could I manage the things that I could control? One option could have been perhaps scheduling it for later in the day or another day in the week, but I'm going to share some other things that factored into where that really wasn't an option for me, so I made the most of it. One of the other things that I think about, let's say that I learned from that first workout, I go into the second workout, and I apply the lessons learned. One of the potential outcomes of that could have been that the race or the workout was still not where I wanted it to be. I was not able to maintain the target pace. I wasn't able to maintain the quality. Perhaps rain and wind wouldn't have been a factor. Everything was just right, and I still came up short. Then perhaps one of the things I need to consider at that point in time is, are the target paces that I set based on that hard effort that I talked about, was that still too aggressive? Am I not really ready for that level of speed work? Am I not quite fit yet to go out there and run that hard? And at that point in time, maybe I need to make some adjustments. In this particular case, since I'm using the VDOT tables in Jack Daniel's running formula book, maybe I need to go back to that and adjust my VDOT score for my aerobic profile to back it off one easier, readjust my target paces and reapproach. Or maybe I'd have to consider too that I'm coming off 3 to 4 months of just easy running, and my body needs a little bit more time to make the adaptations and the changes before I'm ready to really hit those target paces. So maybe I need to stick it out. The point being, I don't need to panic. I can look at what I'm learning. I can look at the information I'm gathering from my training, make adjustments and make decisions and adjust accordingly. Again, the goal of a 7:30 paced half marathon is only a goal. It's something I'm shooting for. Early indications are I should be able to do a training block of speed work and be able to hit that. But I may gain information over the course of this where that's not possible. I'm not able to maintain the quality of the workouts. If I'm not able to maintain the quality of my workouts, my confidence can suffer. That can affect me psychologically going into my workouts, and therefore it might make more sense for me to make an adjustment, back off a little bit, come up with some target paces that I can achieve, that I can consistently hit, so that I also build the confidence level going into whatever I'm able to run. I'll be running with confidence rather than doubting myself going into it. And then perhaps later on in my training, when I get the confidence, maybe I may be able to make the adjustments and still attain my original target goal. But those are things and decisions that I can make and cross those bridges as they come up. I'll give you another example of an opportunity where I could panic. Last week during my long run, I had planned to run 3 miles, very easy, following my Maffetone target heart rate. Then transition into 2 miles at what the running formula VDOT score tells me I should run long runs at. And then transition into 3 miles at my target marathon pace. Well, I did that, and I knew probably after the first mile at the target marathon pace that I may not be able to maintain the quality and actually complete the workout as intended. It was 84 degrees with high humidity, so that felt like 88 to 90 degrees. And then you think about how your body temperature rises, 10 to 15 degrees when you're running and exercising. So in theory, it could have been feeling like I was running in like 100 to 105 degree conditions. Not ideal for doing speed work. I had to take that into consideration. But I was bent on, I'm gonna push for the target. I'm gonna try to get it anyways. And I was able to complete the two miles at the targeted long pace. And I was only able to complete 2 of the 3 targeted marathon pace miles before I felt like I was gonna blow up. So the adjustment I decided to do is, all right, I got 2 of them in, I'm gonna take a short break. I took a pit stop, I hydrated, I walked a little bit, I eased back into a jog, I eased back into gradually building up my pace, and then when I hit a point where I had a mile marker I could watch on the ground, I attempted to get that 3rd mile in at target pace, and then I would have some markings on the path that I could use to see how am I doing? Am I on target to maintain that quality workout? And if so, great. If not, I might have to call it a day and make some adjustments. The good news is I was able to get a 3rd mile in at that target pace, but the rest of the workout pretty much was shot. It was a mixture of walking, it was a mixture of easy running, it was a mixture of stop and go. I wasn't able to get to that target long pace that I'd really hoped for. And I'll be honest, I was discouraged a little bit. I was disappointed. But I also realized I had to accept there were some extreme environmental conditions outside of my control. I can't panic yet. It did make me question, man, I'm struggling to maintain a 7:48 mile pace for 3 miles stringed together. It's still early on in the training block, and I'm still trying to find the speed legs, if you will. How much of it really is the heat and humidity? I'm sure that was a factor. Is it time for me to really rethink my fitness level and my goal and maybe back it off a little bit? I think back on my training, I made progress from where I was at this point last year. And I know fall is here, actually. I think today is the 2nd or 3rd day of fall. Cooler temperatures are coming. It's definitely been cooler this week. Maybe it's too early to abandon the VDOT score target paces. After nailing my speed work this week, I feel better that maybe that was a good point. It's too early to abandon it. I'm hoping for cooler temperatures so I can gauge my long run plans where I incorporate target marathon pace miles in for at least another workout or 2 before I decide, reevaluate adjusting my goal, adjusting the target, adjusting my training paces. Again, it's not time to panic. I know as runners we're tempted to panic when things like this pop up, but what I'm trying to communicate and what I'm focusing on as the theme for this video is, let's not panic. Let's take the information that we have. Let's look at our track record in our training. How's it going? What have we learned about our training that we can apply mentally so we don't get into a mental tailspin? And there is an appropriate place and time to adjust our training goals, to adjust our target goals. But we don't have to panic and do that immediately. We can let things play out for a few weeks. A few weeks is not going to hurt us. A few weeks really lets us to test that if there's outside things that are going on that we have to grow into, or they're outside of our control that can change with the weather and all that sort of thing. What are some things that have come up in your training? What are some of the curveballs or the surprises or the unexpected things that have popped up where you have been tempted and panicked in your training. Share those down in the comments below. I'd love to read some more of your thoughts. Share as well, what did you do in response to those things? Did you give in and panic? And what did you learn from that? Or what were some of the things that you thought of that really helped you to approach the situation calmly and train smart through that situation? How did it go? What are some takeaways or principles maybe that you would share with me and with the other listeners who are watching this video? What can they learn from your training? Please share this down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. As always, I want to encourage dialogue on these topics so we can learn from one another, so we can continue to improve, we can continue to learn, and we can continue to keep running. And so I hope that you found value in today's video. If you did, click on the like button. I really appreciate that. It really helps to promote the video, promote the channel, and encourages me to keep going. If you're new here, I hope that you learned something. If you're interested in that, check out some of my other videos. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so. And if you want to get alerted to new videos when they post, click on the bell, and you'll get those notices in your inbox. But as always, again, thanks for checking out the channel. I really appreciate you guys, appreciate your comments, your questions, your emails. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Strava. There's links below in the show notes as to where you can find me on Strava. And as always, be safe, train smart, and keep running.